Now, 11 years ago, in 2002, the URA introduced the Identity Plan to preserve places which have strong character and significance to Singaporeans. Now, 15 areas were identified, for example, Gillman Village and Joo Chiat. Now, 3 more have been added to this list under the latest draft master plan. They are Holland Village, Serangoon Garden and Jalan Kayu. Now, the areas will be given a facelift, but more importantly, their unique charms will be retained. So to discuss the significance of the new identity nodes, I have with me in the studio Dr Chua Ai Lin. She's president of the Singapore Heritage Society. So Dr Chua, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you for inviting me, Ewan.
All right, so the recent Our Singapore conversation, it was a survey. It showed that Singaporeans say they want heritage spaces to be preserved as far as possible. Over the years, have you noticed more Singaporeans want to take a bit more, play a bigger role in preserving our identity?
Yes, I think we've seen that in many sectors of society, and there have been lots of press articles both locally and internationally about the growth of interest in heritage and history in Singapore. And I think it's driven by a sense of nostalgia.
So, you know, the younger generation always want to recall the past, and the older generation as well. They want those memories to be preserved. So the 3 areas, Serangoon Garden, Jalan Kayu and Holland Village, what's your opinion on the merit of these 3 areas as identity nodes?
Well, I think as the master plan says, they're areas which Singaporeans have Singaporeans feel for. They have a distinct, unique character and charm to them. And I think it's partly because all these areas are very vibrant ones. They're naturally very vibrant and lots of people go there. And I think that's what is the value of these 3 nodes that have been identified, along with the ones that were designated before 11 years ago.
So all these nodes, you know, they'll be given a facelift. The whole experience will be made a lot better for people living there and for visitors going there as well. But, you know, when it comes to redevelopment, some things will have to stay, some things will go. What do you hope to see not happen when things change?
Well, I think the fact that they've been identified as special identity nodes means that we have to take into consideration this natural vibrancy in the social life in the area and the character that they have when we go forward with plans on developing them and improving the infrastructure, so that we don't lose out the natural charms of the area as well.
So how would you say we strike a balance between preserving the old and going ahead with the new?
Well, I think the first thing is really to try and engage the community and a wide range of stakeholders as far upstream as possible. With identity nodes, unlike, say, gazetted conservation buildings, there's no real clear guidelines or legislation for them, but that leaves open the opportunity for each of these areas to develop in their own way. And a good way to do that moving forward is to, as I said, engage a wide range of stakeholders, people who live there, businesses who are there, as well as visitors to the area and the planning agencies, to see how we can build on the things that are important to all these groups when we move forward with improving the area.
Yeah, one thing that comes to mind, and one place is Serangoon Garden, because I know a lot of people who live there and they're very protective of the area that they live in. They don't really want it to change. So, you know, as you mentioned, should this be one of the aims to get people to start ground up movements to say, oh, this is what we want, you know? And, you know, there are a lot of blogs online, and these pictures were taken by people who actually, you know, remember what it used to be like. So would you say it's important for people to come forward and give ideas to the government as well?
Definitely, and I think it's very important for these communities to pull together to have a voice for the people who are there. And some of the heritage areas in Singapore we've seen become very popular or come into the press recently, like Queenstown or Tiong Bahru. These areas have groups of people who are championing those areas, and they have residents who come together to add their voice to what goes on there and to share their views. So I think that's very important. Each area has to have kind of a group that pulls together the voices who are concerned with that area.
So the government is taking steps to preserve these areas of importance to Singaporeans, but, you know, preserving it is one thing, but what they need to do in terms of follow-up, in terms of maintenance?
Well, I think, as I said, there are no clear guidelines for each of the identity nodes, and maybe we should look at the 15 that were identified before and see what kinds of lessons we've learned from in the last 10 years about developing those areas, maintaining that character, engaging the people who live and work there and visit there as well.
So it's a two-way process, that's
Definitely,
what you're saying.
yes.
All right, thank you very much, Doctor, for coming in. It's great speaking to you. And that was Dr Chua Ai Lin on the new identity nodes and preserving our heritage here in Singapore.